Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chandrika and this is RIKA Life. Thank you so much for joining me on my adventures in yarn and crochet. I have lots to share with you today as always. So if you're keeping up to date with my community posts, I did finish making 2 hats for my nephew, and I also finished his blanket, which was actually done in this yarn as well. This is Bernat blanket yarn in the color Twilight. And now I'm actually making an adult size throw with this same yarn. So let me see where the top is. This is the top. So this one is actually much bigger than the last one I was showing you. But what I actually, I had to play around with this, you guys. I couldn't get this to work. I tried out so many different stitches, and I even did a panel like that big and wide, and then I ripped it all out because I just wasn't happy with it. So that's probably one of the biggest projects I've ever ripped out, and I was not too happy doing that, but I finally found a stitch that made the fabric look dense, which is what I wanted. So this is what I'm doing. It's called a linked double crochet stitch. So let me turn on my light so you can see it properly. Okay, so let's just add some light here somewhere. Okay, so this is the linked double crochet stitch. So it's pretty much a double crochet, but it's linked to the one before, so it doesn't create as many holes. It's a very dense, you can tell it's more dense type fabric. So that is what I'm working on. So today's session is going to be a whip and yarn chat. I'm going to be working on this. I do have other things that are kind of in progress. So I made some hats, some more hats for donations. This looks very teal, but this is very forest green. It's probably my light that's doing it. Let me see. Yeah, this is more forest green. So these are some hats that I was trying to finish. This one is a bit longer, and I do realize that it's a bit longer. Let me see. So I feel like this one's too short and the other one's too long. So this one fits me perfectly. It's not covering my ears though. And then the other one is of course going to be too long, but I mean, that can be more of like a slouchy hat. It still fits and it's still really warm, so I'm not going to modify it, but I will keep it as is. This is another yarn. Oh my gosh, I didn't keep the label. I think this is I bought it with my Premier yarn, so I think it's like a Premier Serenity yarn, I want to say. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. But it's really nice and soft yarn and warm as well. So those were just 2 hats that I made. After my market, I've been kind of like lost as to what to make. So I've just been making a bunch of random things. But then I am working on this large throw, so I'm going to continue working on that right now. And again, this is Bernat blanket yarn, which is 220 yards. And this is the color Twilight. So it's like this navy blue color. I know it keeps showing up differently based on my lighting, but that is the color I'm using. And I have measured this against a throw that I already have. So it's about 5 feet by 5 feet. That's approximately the dimensions of this one. Behind me right there, you might see some blue. That is a Frontline Hero Bear that I started making, and I need to finish making it. I started it like months ago and then I just left it. I didn't continue it. So I need to work on that. Yeah. Okay. By this time, because I ripped out my work, I've made thousands of these stitches now, and I think it's becoming like muscle memory, so I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. But hopefully I don't make any mistakes. I'm just doing the same stitch all the way across. I have used 1 ball already of the Bernat blanket yarn, and I'm on my 2nd ball. When I went to Joann's to purchase this yarn last week, I saw it in the main section, and I saw five balls of it, and I wanted to have 6 just in case. So I then went to one of their associates and asked her if she could help me find it. And just as we started walking, I saw in one of the cartons in the aisles, like, no, sorry, not in the aisles, like in the hallway, I saw that they had, it was like underneath, it was at the very bottom. So I spotted this color and I was like, okay, that's my color and I need it right now. So I bought all of them. So initially I wanted 6, but I bought 9, and I'm really happy I did, because you might not know, but sometimes the balls don't look like this. See how this looks like nice and fluffy, and like this is what it should look like. But then one of the balls that I was playing around with, it did not look like that at all. It looked like very thin and rough and just not plush like this. So I've kept aside like 2 balls just in the naughty corner, and I might return those 2 because I don't think I'm going to work with them. So like, for example, this one is a good ball, and you can see that when you're looking at it, you can see that it's nice and plush, and every strand has, you know, a good amount of yarn on it, and it has no problems with it. But some of the other ones, they didn't come out that good. So I did open one and experimented with it, but then I kind of rolled it back, and hopefully they'll just take it back because I don't plan on using those ones. It's happened with me before with blanket yarn. This is not the first time, but it's just something you have to be aware of when you're starting a project with any, I guess, chenille type yarn. You want to make sure that it's adequately fluffed and it's not like all flat and thin and weird. So that's a little tip for you. I am using a hook that I got from Hobby Lobby. So this is an N10 millimeter hook, and I picked it up. When did I pick it up? I think I must have picked it up sometime earlier this year, and it's working out really well for this pattern. So I do have a Susan Bates in this size, but I'm not using that just because I'm finding this to be a little bit like it's the yarn is gliding nicely on the hook, on this hook. So I'm just decided to just use this hook and just keep going with it instead of going back and forth trying out different hooks. So I'm sticking to this one. Oops. Yeah. What else? So I do have some rainbow yarn left over. I had bought, where is it? You can't see it. Oh, you can't see it on my blanket stand. My blanket stand is like in the doorway. But I made 2 baby blankets and 1 adult blanket out of Line Brand Cover Story Dreamland yarn in the color rainbow. And I still have some of that yarn left over. I was watching Jennifer over at Cinnamon Stitches, and she shared a cardigan she made out of the Karen anniversary yarns, and one of her cardigans was like a rainbow color. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Like, should I try and make a wearable with the Dreamland yarn? It's really soft and plush. It's pretty much like a blanket yarn, but I have enough of it to make a wearable. I don't know, maybe I can make a poncho out of it. Yeah, that might look really nice. I might make a poncho out of it, and then I could just wear like a tank top inside and wear that on top. That could work. Just like a very basic poncho. Of course, I'd have to like look up just like a granny square poncho. That's what I'm thinking right now. I do have one of those already made, but not with this type of yarn. The poncho I have made is with the worsted weight yarn. I'm pretty sure I used Karen Simply Soft for that. Speaking of Karen Simply Soft, I just got an email from Joanne's or Yarn Inspirations. I don't even know. Karen is coming out with a new, I think it's called Karen Simply Me or something like that. And it's a new line of yarns they're coming out with, and it has wool in it. So I guess other Karen yarns, I mean, Karen cakes have wool in them, but I guess not a skein of yarn. So they're coming out with a new type of yarn with wool in it. So that will be interesting to try out. I'm very interested to know how soft that is going to be, because usually yarn with wool in it is not generally that soft. So I am using a stitch marker. I just want everything to be straight because this blanket is going to have a white border. So I bought burlap blanket yarn in vintage white, and that is going to be a white border going around. So I really need to make sure both sides are the same and are straight, and there's nothing crazy happening. So far it's going okay. You can tell that it's straight, and I have no problem using stitch markers, you guys. I mean, for a project like this, I would really highly recommend using stitch markers, because you don't want to chance it. You don't want to get to halfway through and then find out that, you know, your blanket is growing outwards or your blanket is growing inwards, because then it's too late, and it's very sad to have to frog so much work. I made a blanket last year, or was it this year? I don't even remember now. I made a baby blanket, and I was doing some like more complicated stitch, and it was not staying straight, so I had to frog it. Actually, it's in one of my shorts, I think. It's a blanket that's like a purple color, and I had to frog it. I frogged like more than half of it, and that was using Bernat Softy yarn. That was not fun to frog. I was so sad. It was so much work, but it just was not straight. So yeah, note to self is to always use stitch markers when possible, but I think it's always possible. So just use stitch markers. It makes life a lot easier, and that way you don't have to count. You don't have to count or eyeball anything and estimate and guess. You just know, okay, this is the first stitch, this is the last stitch, and just continue crocheting, because honestly it just becomes like muscle memory. And at this point it's like I don't even know, I can't even think to describe to someone what I'm doing. It's like I've just made thousands of these stitches now, and now it's like second nature to me. So anyways, the stitch I am doing is the linked double crochet stitch. When I started this the first time, I used half double crochet, and then I was like, oh my god, half double crochet is going to take forever, so I need something bigger. So then I found herringbone half double crochet, and I thought maybe that would create a more dense fabric. Then I tried herringbone double crochet. I thought that might create a dense fabric, but no, it was just all over the place. So then I remembered there's something called the linked double crochet stitch. And when I when I looked that up on YouTube and then I tried it on my project, I was like, yes, this will work, because I just want something where there's not that many holes, and it worked. And so then I just sat down and I didn't frog. So what I did is, basically, assume I'm like here, I just cut the yarn and then I unraveled and I started working on the new piece. So the old piece kept getting smaller and smaller, and the new piece kept getting bigger and bigger. So I didn't technically sit there and like frog out the whole thing. I just worked off of the panel that I didn't want anymore. And I just find that easier to do than sitting there and actually ripping out all the yarn, because then there's a chance that it might get tangled, and you don't want your yarn to get tangled, especially when you already have so much going on. So that's kind of what I've been doing when I need to frog something, is I don't technically frog it. I just work off of that piece until that yarn is finished, and then I'll attach the new yarn. So that's been working for me. That's just a little tip for you. I'm sure you all already do that. I still feel like a beginner. Yeah, I really want to start some more projects, so I am just holding myself back and trying to do like one or two things at a time and not get overwhelmed. I did start a granny square with Bernat blanket ombre yarn. It has like greens in it. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I did share it in a community post that I really wanted to start a granny square with it, and I did. So first I made a small, like regular granny square. And I think I did 3 rounds, but it was blanket yarn, so it was like that big. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, this one's done, and I cut it. Then I started another granny square, but it was the one without any holes. So you make a double crochet in each double crochet and then you do the corners. So it's a very dense fabric. And when I did that and I showed it to my daughter, I was like, doesn't this look so much nicer than the one with all the holes? And she agreed. So I just kept working on that piece. So I have 2 cakes of that burlap blanket ombre. It's the same color, but I want to say more than halfway done with one of the cakes. And so once I add the other one, I don't think it's going to be that huge, but I guess it could be a nice baby blanket size. And yeah, I just wanted to use that yarn. I saw it again on clearance at Joann's when I went. I saw like there's like some pinkish reddish color. I don't even know the name of the color, but it was in the clearance section. And this one, I think I bought for, I want to say like 6 something. It was a deal, so that's why I bought it. But I'm thinking of maybe going back and buying the reddish pink one as well. I don't know. It's really nice yarn. I really liked working with it. It's basically had all the same specs as the one I'm using now, except it's wound in a cake. But it's still 220 yards. It's burlap blanket. It's just called burlap blanket ombre. And everything else was the same. With that, again, the same thing happened at one point is the yarn was not nice and plush. It was very thin. And I was like, I don't want this yarn. So I just cut it out. I do that sometimes. I cut out parts of the yarn that I don't want to use. I want every part of every project to be so perfect. So you can tell I'm a little bit of a perfectionist just by the fact that I took out like 3 hours of work for this project because I just wasn't happy with it. I was like, I understand that I did so much work, but I cannot work on this and have an entire section that I'm so unhappy with. So I literally just made up my mind that I'm going to have to frog this, and I'm so happy I did. You know, it is taking up more of my time to have to redo that whole panel, but it is what it is, right? We want our work to be nice. We want our work to be a reflection of our abilities and our talents, and all those holy gaps and just weird stitches that I was trying out didn't work out. And now using this stitch, I'm like super duper happy. So I was just very lucky that I remembered the name of linked double crochet. And there's so many short tutorials on YouTube. Even just like watching a short, I just watched a short and the short showed it. And I watched it 2-3 times and I did it. And I was like, okay, good. This is making a nice dense fabric, like what I'm looking for. So yeah, this is not too bad now that I'm into the groove and I know what I'm doing. This is the second ball and it is that tall. So I'm guessing I would use at least 6 balls, I think, and hopefully not more. But the plan is that I might return those 2 that are not looking so nice. And then if I really do need more of this color, then I'm thinking of just ordering it online because I don't want those ones from the store. And I don't think my store has any more. So they'd likely just give me back the same ones or cancel my order. So I'm thinking of if I need more than 6, then I'm going to just order it online and get it shipped to my house. Joann's always has these promos happening, 20% off. If you leave stuff in your cart, they'll send you a promo coupon for 25% off. They'll send you a shipping promo. So yeah, can use all of that. But let's see, maybe just 6 balls of this would be enough and I don't need any more. But in case I do, then I'll just order it online and get it shipped to my house, and then and then work on this. Yeah. So I clearly can't work on one project at a time. It just doesn't happen for me. I have like so many ideas always. And just when I go and look at my yarn, like I was looking at my mandala gradient yarns, and I was like, oh, I need to make something. I saw it in a short just yesterday, and I was like, I have that yarn. I need to use it. The problem is that I put everything in my bins. And so, not everything, of course, I have my yarn closet, but the things that are here in the bins are like kind of hidden away. So I don't look at them. So I'm not getting inspired by them because they're closed up and there's things on top of them. Like there's just a lot of yarn in here. But my cousin came by over the weekend and was like, I love your yarn room. And I was like, thank you. There's just a lot of stuff in here right now and a lot happening. And my blanket stand is here. And just like so much is happening. My mom wants to take a few pieces. She's going to be visiting me and she wants to take a few pieces for gifts. So I might be making some toys for her to take. Yeah, she just wanted some smaller things. So what all did I put aside? Oh yeah, some hats. So I might give her some hats, and then I might give her some keychains that I have, and I might make some more things. I've been looking online to see, like, I don't know, are any of you like, have any of you sold regularly at a farmer's market? Because I was just thinking of like looking into that. I know, of course, right now is the holiday season and the big rush and everything, but I was just trying to think of next year as to if I want to do markets and things, kind of like where all can I do them? Because I'm still very new to all of this. I've only ever done things like in my community. I haven't really gone out and done any big shows or all day shows or anything like that. So if you have any insight on any of that, please let me know. I kind of keep going back and forth where I'm like, I want to design things, so I should sit down and design things. And then I think that it's kind of fun to sell things, so then I go and sell things. But yeah, I think I definitely have a tutorial or two in me that's overdue that I would like to work on. I just kind of need to finish these few projects that I'm working on so that I have some free time and then I can work on that. But yeah, that bear I was mentioning in the beginning, the Frontline Hero bear, I am more than halfway done. I want to say I'm done the body and the legs, and I have to work on its arms and head, and then I need to embroider the face, and then I need to make like the accessories. So it comes with a hat and a mask, so I need to make those out of the white yarn that I have there. And then hopefully I can do that like relatively quickly, and then that'll be like off my plate. That's been something that's just been sitting around for so long that I've needed to finish, but I just haven't. I've just been busy doing other things, you know. So I need to finish working on that. Okay, it looks like I did a whole row, so it's taking me about 20 minutes to do a whole row. I know I've been talking in the middle too, but I'm trying not to make any mistakes. Okay, so again, I'm going to move my stitch marker once I do this first stitch because I don't want to have to count. Okay. I really love crocheting while listening to other people talk as they're crocheting. So I like watching Lisa over at Happy to Hook Creations. I like listening to Juan the Yarn Addict. This morning I was listening to Jennifer over at Cinnamon Stitches. It's just nice to see what other people are making, what kind of what kind of yarn they're using, what projects they're working on, you know, what kind of yarn they're buying. So, oh, I totally forgot to mention. So when I went into my Joann's last week to get this yarn, I walked by most of the store, and they had like entire aisles just filled with boxes. It's like all the Christmas stuff, and it's just in boxes. Like they don't have enough people to like um unpack the things. Like they just they didn't have no space, or they didn't have people to unpack. Sorry, one second. But I was just like, what is in these boxes? Okay. Yeah, I was just confused. Like, what is in these boxes and why are there so many boxes? So I saw like 3 or 4 aisles like that, and I'm not joking, like the entire aisle from floor to ceiling had boxes in the middle of the aisle. Like they just brought the pallet and just put the pallet in the aisle and left it there. So I don't know. I mean, that's not very impressive to me. I did notice that they unpacked more of the yarn, so I was happy about that. But they just have too much stock and like not enough people, and just I mean, it's already like almost the middle of December, and I feel like they're not even gonna get a chance to put it all out for the holidays. So I don't know what's gonna happen to all of that. It's all gonna just get discounted again. And so Joann's has this thing on their website called the daily deal drop. I think that's what it's called, or it's like called the online deal something. And so some days I'll go on and just check to see what's on there. So I went on yesterday, and it was candles that were on sale for $5. And so they make it seem like some really good deal, because it'll say the candle was originally $25 and now it's just $5. And I was like, no one's going to pay $25 for this candle. And the actual worth of it is probably closer to $5. But you can find that everywhere. So it's like they're purposely marking it up and then discounting it to make it seem like it's a really good deal. But is it a really good deal? I don't even know. So I feel like they're doing the same thing with the yarn, which is kind of sad. Luckily, when I bought this yarn, I was able to use a 20% off on top of the sale price. So I got these balls of yarn for six something, which I think was a decent price. Um, but yeah, it's strange the way they do their marketing and they do their pricing. I just feel like they're like misrepresenting the price of things and then making it seem like we're getting an amazing deal. In some cases, it is an amazing deal, but in many cases, it's what you would regularly pay in other stores, you know? So Joann's has had their line brand mandala yarn family on sale a couple of times this year, where they've sold almost all of them for $4.99. Okay, and I've shared that on my channel. I've shared it in the community posts. And then I had people writing to me telling me that that yarn is actually at like Walmart for like 550 or 569, something like that, all the time. And I was like, oh, because here I was thinking that mandala yarn is on this amazing deal for $4.99, but then someone's telling me that, oh, it's actually under $6 at Walmart all the time. And so I was kind of disheartened. I was kind of like, oh, okay. Although I have to say that Walmart doesn't have all the colors, they don't have as much selection. At least my Walmart doesn't. Maybe if you purchase it online, it's different, but in store, my Walmart does have some mandala yarn, but nothing like what my Joann's has. So, yeah, I mean, I did take advantage of that sale earlier this year, and I'm really happy with my purchases. I just need about like 10 or 12 hands so that I can crochet as fast as I buy yarn. So, I need to become an octopus, you know, basically. Instead of making an octopus, I need to become an octopus and have multiple arms and just be able to crochet like all the time. So even while I'm crocheting, I'm thinking about crocheting. When I'm on my devices looking at patterns, looking at yarns, looking at what other people are making. I wish I was crocheting. Yesterday, we were in the living room and my kids kept turning off the lights because they wanted to see the holiday, the tree lights and this little light thing that we have that projects on the wall. They wanted to see that, so they kept turning off the light. And I was working on this project and I just kept working on it in the dark. I was like, I made thousands of these stitches now. I kind of know where the hook is supposed to go. And so I just kept crocheting, you guys, until they finally turned the light back on. I was like, oh, okay, now I can see what I'm doing. But I literally just kept crocheting. So now I'm thinking I should buy one of those neck lights just for times like that, where everyone wants the lights off, but I still want to crochet. Maybe that's something I should get myself. I've never looked into that, but based on what happened yesterday, I was like, I think this might be useful for me because they think I should be able to do it in my sleep. My family thinks I should be able to like crochet in my sleep. They're like, oh my gosh, you worked on this for so long. You already know what you have to do. And I was like, yes and no. I would still like to be able to see my stitches to make sure I'm not making a mistake. Especially for something like this where it's like the whole pattern is uniform. I want it to remain uniform. I don't want to make any mistakes. But yeah. We watched the most random movie yesterday. We watched like, what was it from? 2021. We watched Godzilla versus King Kong. I don't even know if that's the name of the movie, but that's what we were watching. And yeah, the most random movie. And then, okay, it was okay, but it was like kind of, they went into a portal, they went to another land, they were in Antarctica, they were like all over the place. And then I was trying to figure out like, why is, obviously this is not the first movie, but I was trying to figure out like, why is Godzilla after King Kong? Like, why is he after his life? And then near the end, why did he just leave him and go away? He didn't kill him. So clearly there's a part 3 or part 2. But I don't know if I'll be watching that. That's the most random movie that we put on. My hubby's been wanting to show our kids Home Alone. He thinks that's a really fun holiday movie, but every year my kids refuse to watch it. We watch about 5 or 10 minutes and then they get creeped out, and I'm like, the premise of this movie is like people breaking into your house in the holidays. Are you sure you want to show this to your kids? I don't know why we thought it was like entertaining when we were young. I guess him doing all the tricks and, you know, it was funny, but I don't know. My kids just are not into this stuff. We did go and watch Moana too, so that was fun. But of course, I'm like so in love with the first movie and the songs and everything that the second movie just cannot measure up, you know. I've watched the first Moana like hundreds of times. When my daughter was small, we used to watch it like every day. So yeah, I've watched it so many times. The dialogues, the songs, though there was 1 or 2 songs in the second one that I did like, but you know how it is with sequels. It's like you just have such high expectations, and they did kind of build on some characters from the first one. They did put in some of the main dialogues. They put in some of the music from the first one. But I mean, maybe I need to watch it again. But it was okay. It was worth watching. But I just didn't feel that exact same magic as the first one. You know, the first one of any movie, they're building up the characters and they're introducing you to their world, and the music is always just so amazing. The music was good in Moana too, but I don't know. For me, it didn't compare. So I also wanted to watch Wicked. So let's see. Maybe I'll go watch that by myself. That seemed really good. I watched an interview of the actors behind the scenes, and yeah, that seems like that would be a nice movie for me. Let's see what ends up happening. But Do you have any favorite holiday movies or just movies you like watching at this time of the year? If you do, let me know in the comments. Of course, let me know what you're crocheting. Let me know whatever comes to your mind as you're crocheting with me. I would love to know what you're working on, what you're making, if you're making anything as gifts. I am not making anything as gifts, but I did gift one of the hats that I'd made for my sale. I gifted one to my cousin. Um, but as such, I don't have any plans to make anyone crocheted gifts. So, well, my daughter wants a hat. She wants a white hat with a pink pom pom. So now I need to make that for her, and I just need to kind of be careful that it's not massive and gigantic like this one that I just showed you earlier. It can't be this big because on her head it's just going to be way too big. So it needs to be on the smaller side. So I will be working on that for her. That's not really a holiday gift. That's just her friend has one of my hats and she wanted a matching hat with her friend. So I'll be making that for her. But yeah, I feel like this is like, the end of the year, wrapping up things, and probably in January I will start more new things. We'll see. I have some family things planned, so that will be fun. Get to dress up a little bit, and yeah. Okay, I made some decent progress on my project. This is what it's looking like. It's so big. It's actually really big. Hold on. I'm going to show you how big it is because I don't think you believe me. But so you can see how long it is right now. That's how long it is. And that's using almost 2 balls of yarn. And I'm going to hold it to show you how big it is. I can't even get it all in the frame. That's like, my hand is over there. It's huge. It's going to be huge. It's a huge blanket, adult size throw. So lots of fun happening there. Lots of fun on my channel. I try to still post on my community tab almost every day. I just post like funny things and memes and occasionally my projects just to keep in touch with all of you. But yes, let me know what you crocheted today. Let me know if you're making any gifts, and I will see you soon, you guys. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, I hope you have a wonderful crochetful day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.